names and social security numbers. Doing the right thing really does mean letting people know when there's a significant risk that that kind of information has been compromised. But not all data falls into that category. If the word gets out that I like to buy red ties and I like to wear red ties when I speak, what could happen? Maybe someone's going to send me an offer for a good deal on a red tie. And that's a good thing for me. You know, the worst that can happen is they might even send me a red tie. Right? That's what we point out in public policy debates about data security, that there's a big difference between data that can be used to steal my identity and marketing data about my shopping preferences. We point out the difference between the two constantly because we must retain access to marketing data in order to be relevant. Now, the other public policy issue that I want to touch on is the mail. This applies to everyone in this room, whether you realize it or not. Now, if you use mailing as a vehicle for direct marketing, I absolutely know I've got your attention already. I'm not worried about that. But if you're an interactive marketer, you may be thinking that now it's time to check your BlackBerry and tune out for a couple minutes. Please stay with me. Even the most interactive business models usually involve use of the mail somehow. To send out a bill, to provide fulfillment, maybe deliver a product. So the mail is an essential part to all marketing channels at one time or another, and the economic impact is huge. For example, parcel post rates actually serve as an important benchmark for all package shipping. So our first priority is to reform the postal laws that haven't changed in over 36 years. Keeping the mail viable for marketing, charitable fundraising, and customer care will contribute significantly to our national economic well-being. After years of work, we came extremely close to passing meaningful postal reform just a few short weeks ago. Important debate. If you ever had any doubt whatsoever about the importance of the messages that we sometimes ask you to send or the meetings that we ask you to participate in with us as we're lobbying, I certainly hope that what you heard from the senators a minute ago changed your view. This proposed legislation is very complex. It's filled with arcane terminology and economic principles, and we have a lot to let Congress know. Both postal reform done as soon as possible. Successful postal reform will go a long way to stabilize the kind of erratic rate activity that we've seen recently in the law. Far in making sure all of them have been defeated, but I assure you they'll be back. Many consumers feel frustration, whether it's about protecting their privacy, the environment, or natural resources such as trees. When you look at the big picture, by and large, direct marketers are doing an excellent job of guarding privacy and environmental stewardship. And we have the facts to back that up. And we will continue to raise the bar. We need to educate consumers to lessen their frustration. Because if we don't, activists could use it as a way to drive public policy that might curtail the flow of mail dramatically. Our strategy is to listen carefully to what consumers tell us and to pay close attention to their rights and their preferences in all of our business practices. Our goal is to build a bridge of trust with consumers. Research tells us very clearly what we need to do to earn their confidence. Let's listen to a summary of what today's consumers are saying, distilled from our research.
We're connected to every which way. I've got a BlackBerry, I've got a cell phone, we've got 3 computers hooked up to a home wireless network. You could say I like to be in touch with everything all the time.
I watch a lot of TV. I'm constantly on my cell phone. And I'm always online talking to family and friends. You know what? They're all over the map. And when it comes to gift giving, I really appreciate the fact that I can order gifts that I know will be delivered directly to them, no matter where they are.
I think I'm a smart shopper, so I try to take the time to make sure I know it's available before I buy. Then I pick the one that makes the most sense for me, whether it's the web or the mall or catalog or lots of other places. It all has to do with my energy and my time. That's the most important thing.
if I can get information on whatever it is that I'm thinking about at the actual moment that I'm thinking about it, that's ideal. That's when I'm willing to listen.
It's so much easier for me. Why not do it? Plus, the possibilities are endless for searching online. I mean, I know that I'm getting the best value, and I don't have to run all over town doing that. It just, I don't know, makes me happy.
My husband and I will look through catalogs together when we get the chance. We enjoy taking our time, and we don't like to be hurried. But when we get ready to order something, we'll want whatever it is we want immediately. So that's when I go to the computer, or sometimes I'll go straight to the phone because it's so easy if I have a question.
I hear so much about identity theft these days. Parents, people at work. So it's something that I do worry about a little bit.
I will only respond to a marketing message if I know exactly who I'm dealing with and if I know why you're contacting me.
Obviously, I'm willing to provide some information about myself in order to get something that I want. But I'm going to stick to places that agree not to share my information without asking me.
I'm always glad to hear from anyone who can make my busy life a little easier. But I insist that they also make it easy for me to say either yes or no. And if I do say no, I want to be treated respectfully. That's what keeps me coming back.
Research tells us again and again that consumers respond favorably when we offer them communications that are relevant to their specific needs and interests. They appreciate responsible treatment from marketers who have the offers that they value and the service that they like. But marketing messages are really a lot like antiques. What one person treasures, another person throws away. We can all understand the frustration of being overloaded with information that we don't want. As marketers, we realize what a tremendous opportunity that we have to solve those kinds of problems for people by being relevant. Relevance simplifies life and it cuts clutter. So I come back to the power of direct. So much more than a catchphrase. It's truly the heart of all that we do. The connection between being relevant and being responsible cannot be any stronger. If we're not responsible, we lose the right and the ability to be relevant. The result would be more clutter and chaos, not less. Now, to prevent that, we must all take responsibility for maintaining a positive public image of direct marketing. Here again, DMA members already have a lot to be proud of. We already adhere to clear ethical standards. We already try to correct the actions of those who don't. We always start with education, but it often extends much farther. Self-regulation today is more important than ever because far more than our reputations are at stake. It's our bottom lines, our business prospects, and all of our jobs are on the line as well. If we're responsible in handling self-regulation, we'll preserve our ability to be relevant and continue to get the rewarding results from direct marketing and increasingly from what I call marketing directly. Now, earlier I said I try to make each of you feel some of the pride and energy and excitement that I have about the power of direct. I hope it's catchy. We should all be proud to be direct marketers, especially because all marketing is going direct. We should all be very proud of our association. We've reinvented DMA to be all about helping marketers make the leap to marketing directly. But understand that while we're doing a lot, we could be doing a whole lot more with your help. First of all, membership. If you are a DMA member, I thank you. As I've just shown you, your support for the greater direct marketing community is critically important. If you're not a DMA member or a member of our nonprofit federation, I really have to ask the question, why not? Your presence here today really does suggest that you agree that your future is subject to the same trends, the same issues, and the same outlooks that we've just described. But you're really passing up on a lot of the value that comes from being a DMA member. Don't leave that on the table. Members, think about how much more we could do in advocacy, in consumer trust, in developing excellence, with the strength and the unity that we could have with an even larger association than we have today. As I said, the rest of the world is moving rapidly in our direction. All marketing is going direct. So it's incredible to me that any marketer would not want to be a member and take advantage of the benefits of being a member of the DMA. So I want to challenge every DMA member to help us recruit our new DMA member as soon as possible. If each of you finds one, that would be wonderful. Take a look around the room. It's filled with highly qualified prospects. Now, I'm issuing this challenge not as a numerical imperative, right? But it's a reflection of the mindset and the attitude that I think we need to have in the direct marketing community. That we're all in this together, right? That we're all very proud of what we're doing. That we recognize that the value of what our association does for all of marketing, whether you're a member or not. So while I'm in the challenge mode, I also want to challenge every marketer in this room to join another unique effort that we have just launched as a way to help build consumer trust. We thought long and hard about the best way for a corporate trade association like ours to communicate directly with consumers. And we realized that our members have at their disposal literally millions and millions of daily touch points across all of the direct marketing channels. So we're creating message templates that can be used by members as they see fit, including them in regular marketing and fundraising communications. And we've started the efforts with materials supporting the Federal Trade Commission's consumer education campaign on fighting identity theft. We've just begun the effort, and the templates can be downloaded from our website. Several leading marketers have already signed up. I appreciate that. I thank you. And by next year, I'd really like to see participation increase dramatically. See, together, I think we can mobilize the power of direct to its full potential. We stand now between the past with its silos of marketing and really the future of marketing directly. You can help fulfill the opportunity to position direct marketing as the heart of all marketing by always making it the most positive experience possible for customers, donors, or prospects. If you've been around for a while, you already know what a strong, united, direct marketing community can accomplish when we set our minds to it. If you're new, you've come to the right place at the right time, and you are absolutely in great company. After all, DMA members have some of the best brands in the world.
Avalanche of numbers that I think are incredibly important for not only the direct marketing industry, but for the U.S. economy as a whole. And I hope to explain why those numbers are important and what they mean. And I think that what they mean is the most important part, because I know over the years there's been a lot of confusion sometimes about what some of the numbers coming out of the DMA actually stand for. I'd be more than happy to take any questions you have anywhere along the way about what exactly we're doing here. So the two main reports that we're going to talk about today are going to be the Power of Direct Marketing, which some of you probably remember as the WIFA study or the Economic Impact Report. We've renamed it, rebranded it. Marketers, what's worrying you? And I give everybody a drop-down menu. And almost every time I do this, 2005 was a classic example. The number one issue that comes up, marketers tell the DMA, what's the thing you're most worried about? It's the economy, it's consumer confidence, it's something like that. Now here's a little disconnect. When you think about what the typical marketer does in his or her business daily life, they're spending a lot of time worrying about their response rates and so on, and are their lists segmented the right way? And yet, when you ask them what is it that's really driving their bottom lines, 9 times out of 10, they'll tell you it's consumer confidence, economy, and then we're going to drill down sector by sector and show you some of the variation that marketers want to pay attention to. Marketing expenditure, the actual ads that are being generated through the different media on behalf of different verticals. All right, so we have a total roll-up of that. So we're the only people that really measure the total amount of expenditure on direct marketing, sector by sector, media by media, overall in the U.S. And then we marry it up to what the individual marketers in the different verticals are earning with that expenditure. All right, so it's really a kind of a cause and effect relationship. Cause is the expenditure, the effect is the total sales, and the total sales, remember, in direct marketing, the whole point of direct marketing is to increase the sales above and beyond what you would otherwise have got, right? So what direct marketing is doing is it's generating demand, right? So it's a great story that we tell in direct marketing, and what we're going to talk about is how that works for the U.S. economy and then for individual verticals. All right, so overall, 2006, we see that there's $175.2 billion spent across all media on direct marketing. And for our purposes, direct marketing can happen in any media. Some people say, oh, direct mail, that's direct, and then television, that's broadcast, or that's not direct. We don't do it that way. We see that there's direct that can happen in any one of the channels. We measure it all up, channel by channel. This is what we come to. Total sales, 1.939 billion, which is 1.9 trillion, almost $2 trillion of total sales in the U.S. economy that are caused by, and I emphasize, caused by direct marketing. Okay? These are sales, if you want to think about it differently, sales that would go away if we didn't spend $1.75 billion on direct marketing advertisements. Okay. Nice. How does this translate historically? That's the 2005 number, 2006, and this is what we're looking at probably for 2007 in the expenditure side, all right? So last year's expenditure growth, 6%, really good. 2007, it would be really good, except that the year before this year was actually spectacular. So 5.2% any year is good, but comparison to this year, gosh, when you bat 400, batting 390 the following year seems like a bad year. So,
I'm sorry, I thought I had 2006 175.2. You're projecting 2007 to be 175.2?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
So sales growth, same deal, 1.85 trillion, 1.939 in 2006, and 2 trillion point 064 in 07. Same deal. Spectacular growth year this year. Next year, 2007, very solid, not quite as spectacular. Sorry.
Yeah, because the numbers are just getting a little bit.
You need to get. It did say 175.2 for 2006. So, which is
All right.
correct.
And then 2006 is 1.939. We just haven't projected the expenditures.
All right. And you want solid growth next year, but in comparison to this year's spectacular growth, obviously, it would be nice if it was good this year, next year, but it's not. So the key thing, and this is the piece that people sometimes aren't always fully getting, is that what direct marketing does is it leverages underlying demand, right? So people are not going to buy cribs unless they've just given birth to a baby, right? Now what direct marketing does is it takes underlying demand and if you will, it multiplies it, makes it bigger by offering people the right product at the right price at the right time through the right channel of communication. So what our economic analysis shows is that 1.939 billion, that little yellow strip in the 2006 column, that is what the U.S. economy has in addition, thanks to direct marketing. Okay, same deal over there in the 2007 column. Right. So when we quote this big number, it's not like we're saying that anything that anybody ever sold by a direct marketing channel was caused by direct marketing. This is what we add in addition. So there's actually almost $28 trillion of sales that would happen even without direct marketing. Right. So we're adding stuff. So here's what's so cool about direct marketing this year, right? Direct marketing this year is the thing that's actually helping the U.S. economy grow faster than it otherwise would. Because without us, the underlying U.S. economy would be growing at 3.6% in 2007. But because direct marketing sales are growing at 6.5%, add that in, you have a U.S. economy that next year is projected to grow at 3.8%. Okay? You see how that works? Now, I can't promise you that that's going to happen every year, But because direct marketing is an extraordinarily efficient way of driving sales and is becoming more efficient as more and more people adopt direct marketing, that is more likely to be the case going forward.
So it's actually adding 0.2 to GDP, is that what you're saying?
This is actually adding to GDP, all right? In
But is
fact-
the number 0.2 is the question?
Sorry?
Is the number, is it adding 0.2 to the GDP?
Well, now I'm going to get real geeky on you, okay? Total U.S. GDP, total U.S. sales is all the sales in the U.S. economy. My shirt, right, my Brooks Brothers shirt, was once a bale of cotton somewhere that was sold to somebody that became manufactured in a shirt. They sold it to Brooks Brothers. Every time that piece of cotton gets sold all the way before it ends up on my back, it's actually 10.3% of U.S. GDP. So in other words, if we suddenly waved a very horrible black magic wand and removed all direct marketing, the U.S. economy, the GDP, would be 10.3% smaller this year than it would be without direct marketing. Okay? Now I realize that this is a little bit sort of economicsy, maybe a little bit tough to digest, but it's actually just very simple. You spend money in order to earn money. And so it's the U.S. economy spending money on direct marketing in order to have more sales than it otherwise would. All right? It's that very basic, simple fact. You know, it's what people do in this exhibit hall all the time. Now, another way to think of it is ROI. Every dollar that a direct marketer spends on direct marketing advertising, this year is returning $11.65 on average across all the verticals in the U.S. economy. Okay? So that is up from last year's $11.50.
Back up to that 10.3% number.
Yep.
Because you didn't answer the question.
Okay, sorry.
One is measuring sales growth and the other one is measuring GDP. And the question was, so does that mean DM accounts for 0.2% of sales, U.S. sales growth, not GDP, sales growth?
Yes, it is. What direct marketing is doing is it is adding 2.2% to the U.S. sales growth rate.
Thank you.
Right? So it went from 3.6%
I mean, it looks obvious.
to 3.8% thanks to direct marketing. Okay? So before, after. All right. Thank you for that question. That was great. No, I mean, absolutely. If you've got clarification questions, I'm happy to take them. Now, this is the ROI figure for direct marketing. Last year, $11.50. This year, $11.65. Interesting statistic that we did comparing direct marketing ROI versus general advertising ROI. Right? In the U.S. economy, all advertising, direct marketing included, is adding growth, an ROI, at about $8.50. And it's going up a few pennies every year. But here's the really interesting thing. If you look at just general advertising, the people that are not using direct marketing, their ROI, as measured by economists, is actually going down over time, the last 3 years. All right, so this is non-direct marketing ROI. This is direct marketing ROI. Okay, this is what economists are telling us is happening to the impact of overall advertising in the U.S. economy. Thanks to the decline of broadcast, of radio, and so on, in its non-direct form, we are actually seeing that the contribution, the net benefit of the U.S. economy is going down over time, but direct marketing is going up. Okay? Now, there's a kind of an ROI story, if you will, around employment. All those people out there in that hall who are right now doing deals, they are not only employed as direct marketers themselves, but thanks to those additional sales that they are able to generate using their direct marketing, selling more cribs to people who've just given birth and so on, they are actually generating a further 8.8 million jobs in crib manufacturers, automobile manufacturers, bank tellers, you name it. People that you and I would not think of as having their jobs being created by direct marketing, their jobs are being created by direct marketing because they have to fulfill those sales that were created by direct marketing. Okay? So when we talk about the DM-driven employment ROI, this is what we're talking about. Every direct marketer in the United States promotes the sale of goods and services that end up creating jobs for more than 5 others. And Jerry is one of your great sources on employment statistics and direct marketing, by the way, if you want to talk to him. All right, so ad expenditure and sales, what's the story here? The story is basically, this ought to be a pie chart. If I was really good at graphics, this would be a pie chart. Not surprising, telephone marketing and direct mail, there's a lot of investment there. That's just giving you the overall distribution, all right? Internet channels, internet marketing, a lot of dollars go in there. This is all in billions. But the story that I want to tell, is about the growth rate, okay? This is the 2007 growth rate. Internet marketing, commercial email are the big growers, right? And this is on the ad expenditure. Now, the other question to ask in terms of advertising expenditure is who's spending it? We divide the economy into 8 major categories: manufacturing, retail, and so on. As you can see, manufacturing, retail, and financial are by far the biggest places that are actually spending money on direct. But the growth rate is actually very different. So resources, that's a very small base if you go back. So that's actually way down there, 2.1 billion. So the fact that they're growing at 9.5%, not really all that interesting. What is interesting is what the big spenders are doing. And so financial next year, 7.5%, that's the big story. That's where the money is going in terms of the direct marketing expenditure next year. Now, we also break it down into sub-verticals, okay? And this is where it gets really interesting for your readers. So pay attention to this. Because these are the small verticals, the sub-verticals, if you will, that are going to be the big winners. So the big winner next year, remember I told you the big winner overall was financial? Well, actually, if you look, even get more granular, the really big winner, the people are going to be spending most money, is the healthcare provider sector. People who are spending least money, who are actually shrinking their budget, well, guess what? Remember I told you there were some major developments happening in the U.S. economy? This is what we're starting to see. There is a significant risk of downturn next year in the automobile and housing sectors. Verticals and direct marketers associated with that are likely to spend and earn less as part of that development. So motor vehicles and especially lumber and wood associated with the manufacture of housing is actually going to see a decline in direct marketing spend. You're going to see a similar story when we look at now the sales impact. Okay? I'm going to stop for a second. I realize I talk fast and I'm presenting a lot of numbers, but it's the same basic cause and effect story. You spend money in order to promote whatever it is you're selling, and as a good marketer as you are, if the underlying economy that you're trying to maximize is doing something different, you could be in trouble. So in some sectors, like housing or automotive, you could be taking a deep dive into a pool where the water is draining out fast. Okay, so that's important to realize. Sales, just very quickly, again, very similar to the ad spend story. You'll have all these numbers. Not surprising, almost every year, most money goes to direct mail and to telephone. Where we want to pay attention to is the growth rate. Internet marketing, commercial email, obviously both growing very fast. Now we start again looking at the sales distribution. Most sales accrued in retail and manufacturing. And now we look at the growth rate. Next year's big growth sector, transportation. But now where are the verticals that are going to do well below these major clumps? Healthcare, education, banks and credit institutions. These are the big winners. These are the verticals that when they spend their direct marketing dollars are going to likely see above average returns. These are the ones that if I had a message to my clientele out there, I wish some people would pay attention to this. All right? because people who could be putting some excessive dollars into real estate and leasing, lumber and wood, apparel and leather manufacturing, textile mill products, those sales are actually likely going to be negative next year, right?
Are you talking about B2C or B2B direct marketing?
Well, both, all right? Because there's a supply chain, right? So if there are real estate and leasing marketers, right? People whose job it is to promote real estate, whether to corporations or to individual, right? The housing market is dragging down the overall climate for those marketers. So they are going to see a significant risk that their direct marketing dollars is not going to earn the return, all right? So this is really a kind of a red flag to these people saying, look, on a year-in basis, right? What is it that worries you? Remember my opening slide? You can be the greatest marketer in the world, but if the pool that you're diving into has had all the water drained down it, splat. This is what we have to pay attention to for 2007. Okay. Now let's take a brief look at the quarterly business review, because the quarterly business review tries to look at a firm-by-firm basis, whereas the Power Direct Marketing looks at vertical by vertical. The key thing you need to know about the quarterly business review is that we use an index, and it works a lot like consumer confidence. 50 means no change. A number above 50 means things are growing. A number below 50 means things are changing. So, this is how people just answered Ian's survey. Suppliers doing great this last quarter. Marketers doing fine at 58. Again, any number above 50 is good. Overall, 61 for the entire industry. Rolling back 4 quarters, it's been a pretty good year. 68, spectacular. 66, really, really good. 59 and 61, that's actually very solid. Putting it now all the way back in context to Q4. All right, we've had some pretty good years the last couple of years. All right, this has been, for the last 3 years in direct marketing, it's been really solid. Some ups and downs a little bit along the way, but overall, numbers in the 60s, we're doing fine. That's very good. Again, here is the sales that track those index numbers that I just showed you. We average the sales, what the average firm is doing versus, the big firms and the little firms. And it's basically overall pretty good sales increases. Now, we also ask, what are you going to be doing next quarter and next year? So next quarter, that's to say, rounding out 2006, people are saying that they're going to be doing pretty good. The reason why I want this word to get out is because, as you're about to see, what economists are telling the U.S. economy as a whole, vertical by vertical, not necessarily the case that message has gotten through to some segments of marketers, okay? Because there are some people who may be spending more and expecting to earn more revenue than, in fact, they may actually be getting from an economic point of view. So we ask them now, we have a slightly different index number here, how are you expecting your expenditure and revenue to be doing next year? 62% say they're expecting their overall expenditure to be greater. Score 1.54. In this case, by the way, 1.00, that's no change. Anything below 1.00 is shrinking. A score above 1.00 is increasing. The revenue forecast, right? Very positive, 1.66, great score. But my question is, do the verticals know how it pertains to them? This is the question I have, and I don't know the answer to that. But it's a question that they should be asking themselves. We're getting almost to the end here, so just bear with me a couple more slides. The other thing that we do in quarterly business review is we ask for the coming year, where are marketers putting their money? What are the services they're expecting to put their money into? All right, similar kind of deal. 1.47, top winner, postage. All right, 1.33, internet. This I find a very interesting development. All right? Yep.
I mean, does that just mean that they're spending more on postage than they have in the past because it's more expensive, or is it because they're just doing more mail?
That is a great question. We don't have enough room in quarterly business for me to be able to drill down in that. My suspicion is, since this is the first time I've seen this, when I asked this in prior years, internet and email always comes up as number one. First time I've seen postage. All right? So what is the reason for this? Heck of a good question. My guess, and this is simply speculation, is this is postage rate increases. This is a speculation.
Postage has come up ever?
Not
Just
ever,
recently.
as number one.
Well, it's the first time it's come up number one ever? Or
Since we've done QBR, which is 2002. All right? So I've been asking this question, quarter by quarter, what are you expecting to spend more on? And always, since I've been doing this, it's been pretty much internet and email services. Right? Stands to reason. What's postage doing up there number one?
Multi-channel, trying to drive people.
You know what? I would love to believe that's true. I would love to believe that's true. And in fact, that may well be true. And now that I've got this anomalous reading,
It's got to be posted.
it's got it. I mean, personally,
That's right.
Personally, I think, we are looking at the DMA perspective. We know that the USPS business model is out of whack with our modern technology-driven economy. And if we're not getting the post office to drive its business, in sync with what everyone else in the 21st century is doing, I suspect that this could be.
is the overall message here that marketers are looking forward to growth in spending, a robust economy, and they're spending more, and you're thinking maybe they're spending a lot more money, expecting a lot more return when the economy's about to tank on them because of the housing market? Is that the big message?
I'm saying the big message, there are several messages. The big message overall for the U.S. economy is direct marketing is actually cushioning the U.S. economy from a downturn. All right?
For now, right?
For now. Okay? But because everything is interconnected, there is a risk in some areas of direct marketing, some verticals, right? Because we're not talking overall U.S. now, we're talking vertical by vertical, dividing up the U.S. economy into buckets. Some of those buckets are actually going to have less water in them.
Mainly those related to the housing market.
Mainly those related to the housing and automobile sector. That is correct. So that's the marketer side of the story. This is about the services and supplier side of the story. Where are those people getting their next meal from, so to speak? Normally, marketers have been telling us for the last 2 to 3 years they're putting incremental dollars into internet and email. It makes a lot of sense, and obviously information and data services. The one that I am surprised by is the fact that postage is now jumping to the top of the list. And I think we could have a great conversation in this room about why that might be. Personally, I think it is a mixture of the multi-channel aspect plus the fact that the USPS has already announced above inflation rate price increases, and that marketers know that they're going to have to spend that. So that, I think, is a significant fact. Middle range here, agencies, envelopes, I mean, these are anything around 1.1, 1.0, that's basically steady state, no real change. The areas now that could be taking it in the neck in 2007, squeezed budgets, are anything that is below 1.0.
The services when you do not call, certainly. Or maybe they've absorbed that credit.
So where
No, I thought it was 1.1.
it's basically no change. Overall, this is where they expect to be allocating their resources overall. And so what we have is a picture for 2007. Again, overall story. We have a great story that's about direct marketing helping the U.S. economy, but there are some significant question marks, and I emphasize question marks. This is not danger, 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 Will Robinson. This is question marks about what might be happening in certain verticals. So with that said, I'd be happy to take questions. I have in the back room, I have somebody that I want to say a special acknowledgement to. Anne Frankel, this is my one chance to give her a special shout out. Anne Frankel is the woman who, on a day-to-day basis, makes the numbers on Power of Direct and the Quarterly Business Review come alive. And I get to sit up here and pontificate and so on, but I want to say a personal thank you to Anne Frankel, who is really the woman who makes this come alive. And this is probably, next year is probably going to be an A-. But some people, if they hear A-, if they're in a particular vertical, like associated with housing or with automobile, they hear A- overall, and they think, oh great, I'll put more money in, when in fact they should be hearing, C-.
What could change that to an A+?
What could change that to an A+? Great question. The Federal Reserve gets really lucky, and the projected soft landing, plus a miraculous turnaround in the housing market, which, by the way, I personally hope does not happen, because I am waiting. I'm a renter, and I'm waiting for prices to come back down to the point where I can buy again. But taking my naked self-interest out of it for a second, housing market not collapsing the way people are currently suspecting it might mean that those risky verticals actually are able to be positive. All right? But those are forces that, to some extent are beyond marketers' control. Because remember, marketers are a little bit like divers. Direct marketing is a diving platform, and you can be an Olympic class diving direct marketer. You can do the 3.0 double gainer. If that pool has got just an inch of water, I predict that when you see how shallow it is on your way down, suddenly your form is going to get a little rocky. All right.
You can say that direct marketing is very important for the U.S. industry, as we see at this moment.
Oh, absolutely.
We can see,
yes.
and it's growing.
Yes.
And that's a thing the politicians have to accept, or to that's.
Well,
no.
they do accept it, and they acknowledge it. That we are able to show them,
yes,
through objective third-party economic research.
And they treat you good. They treat you well. They treat the industry well. What do you think? Or you think they have to make something better? The U.S. government with the direct marketing industry. Overall,
more politicians, we believe, are recognizing what direct marketing contributes to the U.S. economy. When you look at particular channels and particular areas, you have to make these important distinctions. So, for example, one of the biggest issues is postal reform. The United States Post Office is an institution that was designed for a 1970s economy. We are trying right now to reform it so that it is more consistent with the digital age. Direct marketers value a post office, but it has to be a modern post office. And politicians in Washington, in principle, understand that, but they don't give it the urgency that we think that they should. And so we're working with them to increase that. So we have to look at particular areas of direct marketing. But overall, we think that direct marketing, we know it contributes. Right? We've seen that it's helping the U.S. economy grow. So the politicians get that in general, but it's fixing specific problems that we wish that they would be more proactive.